when they tell you, yeah, they do you.
It's Wednesday, and it's 4 o'clock, so, well, a little after 4, but this must be Baldy and the Blonde. Without the Baldy, at least he's here remotely today from his mom and M's house in North Carolina. And before we get into that, let me just say that sorry about last week. We had to go with a rerun of an old show at the last minute because we're still working in the law business, and we had a big case, and we just needed the extra time. So please forgive us as we move forward with fresh topics today. Speaking of fresh, hello, Mr. Baldy.
I'm here.
There you go.
I'm in from North Carolina.
Your mom and M's, as we say.
At Mom and M.
Yeah. Yep. How's Mom and M doing?
Everybody's good. Thank you for asking.
That's
Mom's
good.
always asking about you.
Well, give her a big kiss for me. And next time she comes, Mom and M loves to go to, what's her favorite restaurant here, Tom?
Oh, Mandina's.
Yeah? And I thought she liked La Usa's the best. No, Mandina's. Okay.
Oh, no, I think Mandina's was her favorite.
Okay. Well, there you go.
But La Usa's, definitely likes La Usa's, but Mandina's is her favorite, I think.
It's a good place to hang out. In fact, my sister-in-law is from Finland, and she said that in Finland no one speaks at the restaurants and that all you hear is the sound of forks. So whenever they have somebody visit from Finland, they would take them to Mandina's. Which is shocking to a Finnish person, completely.
Yeah.
So anyway, I thought we'd start the day today, Tom, with, we've got a lot of people talking about the president's new executive order mandating voter ID in order to vote in U.S. elections. How that could be controversial is beyond me, but after you and I listen to the following clip, we have some other things that we think should maybe be requirements. So this is a clip of students on spring break in Clearwater, Florida, being interviewed. And Tom, who's the credit go to for this?
Well, I don't know her real name, but she's a YouTuber. She goes by the name Liberty Hangout.
Liberty Hangout.
I play on words for limited hangout, which is a CIA term.
That's right. That's cute. Yeah.
Yeah. But now the thing is, there's no shortage of these videos. She's got a bunch of them, and it's just endless. It's just a sea of morons who can't answer the simplest, most basic question. And it's not like she's cherry picking, because she gets people in a big group. There might be anywhere from like 3 people to 8 people in a group. And she'll throw out the simplest question, and not one of them has any idea. And there's like a beach full of these people, and she's got years of videos doing this. So what you're going to hear, it's shocking, but it's super common among the young college kids, I guess.
Well, I don't know if it's even limited to young college kids, because you and I have been watching these videos, I don't know, forever. Patty from the show before us was asking me, didn't Jay Leno used to do that? Yes. Jesse Waters used to walk around for Bill O'Reilly doing this. There's a guy named Mark Dice who's got a YouTube channel filled with these.
That's all true, but they were never as vacuous and stupid as what we're seeing.
Yeah, this is beyond stupid. So, with all due respect, here are your up-and-coming voters and leaders of America on the beach. Right. Hit it, please, Mr. Kobe.
Wait,
how many U.S. senators are there?
6, 7. 6, 7.
How many amendments are in the Bill of Rights?
There's a lot. I know 17.
Who won the Civil War?
It's East or West, right?
Well, it's the Civil War, so it's the civilians versus whoever was in power.
Who did the colonists fight in the Revolutionary War?
Oh no, I can't think of it.
No.
The Jews.
Who did the colonists fight in the Revolutionary War?
The Pilgrims.
What are the 3 branches of the U.S. government?
The legislative.
Uh-huh.
You go next.
I have absolutely zero clue. I do not know.
What are the 3 branches of the U.S. government?
I know this. Legislation, judicial, and consecutive?
How many justices are on the Supreme Court?
Justices. So like when you say that, like you mean like the FBI?
Name 3 states that border Canada.
Asia.
I didn't know Canada had a border.
Is that it?
That's absurd.
That's it. It's a shining display of our up-and-coming, brilliant young Einsteins on the beach.
They know nothing. Oh, and now what that clip did not show was that she was asking questions that are asked of legal immigrants who have to take a test to become U.S. citizens.
Ah.
That's where she got the questions.
Wow. So, I actually was thinking maybe we should go like one at a time. What do you think?
Yeah. You want to read?
All right, let me see if I can
go for it.
technologically handle this, because here we go. We're gonna start from the beginning.
If you can click a mouse, you can handle it.
Here we go.
How many U.S. senators are there?
7.
How many amendments are?
Okay, Tom. How many senators? 6 or 7?
Oh, there's like 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
Now in that group, that's a group of like 8 college kids, and none of them have a clue.
And I bet they all voted. Oh no.
Yes,
Okay.
that they did.
Here we go.
Okay.
Here's the next one. Slowed down.
In the Bill of Rights.
There's a lot. I know 17.
Who won the Civil?
Okay. The question there was how many amendments in the Bill of Rights? A lot. And the other one says
A lot.
17.
Yeah, and she says, I know this one.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you know it all right.
All right, so I kind of ran over this one a little bit, so let me back up just a little bit. All right, here we go.
There's a lot. I know 17.
Who won the Civil War?
It's East or West, right?
Well, it's the Civil War, so it's the civilians versus whoever was in power.
Okay.
It was either East or West. It was one of those.
Uh-huh.
No, maybe it was the civilians or whoever was in power. One of those.
The civilians versus whoever was in power.
The civilians, because it was
What?
the Civil War.
Oh, my God.
So, you see how she reasoned that out? She's brilliant.
So we have a young producer in the studio. I'm just going to ask him because my theory is that they don't teach civics anymore. Did they teach you civics, Kobe?
Yes, and I believe 6th grade is when they taught me.
That's young. So you didn't have it in high school?
They kind of mixed it together. They did American government one year, and then Louisiana government, and then civics. They kind of went around.
Okay. But that last time you saw that in a book was 6th grade?
6th grade, but more high school, though.
Okay. Where'd you go to high school?
Salmon High School.
Oh, across the lake. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. They're better over there. Okay, here we go. Come on.
Who did the colonists fight in the Revolutionary War?
Oh no, I can't think of it.
No.
The Jews.
Did he say the Jews?
He did. He said the Jews.
It's unbelievable. Who did the colonists fight in the Revolutionary War? The Jews? Okay,
That's who they fought, all right.
that is pathetic. All right, pathetic.
You mean your history book says otherwise?
Yeah, no, yeah. Mine says something about the British. I don't know, the Boston Tea Party. The British are coming. Paul Revere. Stuff like that. Oh my gosh.
Unbelievable.
All right, here we go.
Who did the colonists fight in the Revolutionary War?
Another time.
Pilgrim.
What are the 3 branches?
He
That-
said the Pilgrims.
The Pilgrims. Okay, Here we go. More scintillating brilliance from the beaches of Clearwater on spring break from America's up-and-coming leading generation. Here we go.
Of the U.S. government.
How many branches?
Legislative. You're next.
What did she say? Eunuchs?
No, she's like, she said you go
Oh,
next.
eunuch. She's telling her friend.
Telling her
Okay,
friend.
okay. Now this one, I did notice that she said like judical or something like that. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
She made up 3 words.
She made up 3 words. All right, here we go.
Here they come.
Here they come.
I have absolutely zero clue. I do not know.
What are the 3 branches of the U.S. government?
I know this. Legislation, judicial, and consecutive?
Okay.
Actually,
Legislative,
one word.
judical.
Legislation, judical, and conservative.
No, consecutive. I thought
Oh,
she said
consecutive.
she's
Yes,
mixing
consecutive.
conservative with executive or something. I don't know,
Yes,
consecutive. I'm hoping these people are impaired, and that's why the answers are so pathetic. All right. Let's see if we can get one more in.
How many justices are on the Supreme Court?
Justices. So like when you say that, like you mean like the FBI?
What?
FBI.
The FBI is on the Supreme Court. Okay. Well, I mean, I don't know. One more. Come on. It's not playing.
Oh, it's the best one.
Come on.
Oh, well.
Well, anyway, we'll be back.
With it.
Tom, I'm sorry, 15 seconds.
Oh.
So Tom can't see the clock this week because he's in his mom and M's house in North Carolina. This is Baldy and the Blonde here every Wednesday at 4 at Baldy Blonde on X and WGSO.com. Coming right back after the break with more nonsense from the beach. Welcome back. Welcome back to Baldy and the Blonde. This is Michele Godin here with Tom Coates from North Carolina with his mom and M visiting. And I'm here in the Booth of Truth at WGSO, where we are every Thursday at 4 o'clock. You can follow us on Twitter, X, at Baldy Blonde. A little spicy there, getting some fights with people. It's kind of fun. Facebook, we have a group. Please join. And YouTube, we have a channel where you can listen to our old shows without commercials. So, and you can also listen to them on WGSO.com. Anyway, we were playing some real brain power at the beach tapes right before the break. And the very last quote from one of the kids who was interviewed by a YouTuber named, what is it again? Liberty what?
Oh, Liberty Hangout.
Liberty Hangout, yes. Which we can explain Limited Hangout after that if you'd like. But anyway, this is one of the great future shining bright American citizens answering questions on the beach that, as Tom pointed out before the break, these are just some questions that immigrants, when they take the test, because they do have to take a test to become an American citizen, they have to be able to answer. So, here we go. Oh, it's doing it
Name
again.
3 states that border Canada.
Asia.
I didn't know Canada had a border.
Three for those of you that couldn't hear that, name 3 states that border Canada. The first gentleman answered Asia, and the next kid said, I didn't know Canada had a border.
Yep. They're voters right now.
Yes. So
They're Supreme Court justices.
yes, yeah, no doubt. Well, one of them can't currently define what a woman is, so join the club, right? Join the club of other brilliant people. Anyway, Tom, I was discussing with you, if immigrants have to take that test, I mean, isn't there an argument to be made that before you can foist your will on your fellow Americans by exercising your right to vote, they should at least know that the FBI is not a member of the Supreme Court? I'm just suggesting that the current crisis that we hope to talk about at some point today between the executive and judicial branch is because those are 2 of the 3 Article 1, 2, and 3 powers of the Constitution. And
I think you mean the consecutive and
Yes.
the judicial branch.
that's exactly what I'm talking about. The consecutive versus the judicial, a big fight brewing right there. So I don't know. What do you think about making our future voters test, at least 80% on the basics required to be
Well,
a citizen of this country? It's just insane.
I'll tell you what I think is, one, I don't know the answer on whether there should be this type of test required and or a literacy test, probably and. I don't know the answer to that question, but I do know it should at least be a conversation.
It should be a
And it
conversation.
shouldn't
That's a good point.
Yeah, right. I mean, I don't know the answer, but let's open the conversation. But you can't even do that.
No, because the first thing you're going to hear is that, it's voter suppression, it's poll taxes from the Jim Crow era. I'm not talking about that at all. I'm talking about everybody before you get to
And
vote.
you know what? I mean, there already is voter suppression. You can't vote if you're dead unless you're a Democrat. So you can't you can't vote multiple times unless you're a Democrat.
Of course.
But all kidding aside, there is voter suppression already by age. There's age limitations. You can't vote till you're 18.
Right.
You can't vote if you're incompetent unless you're Biden. But and nobody else is incompetent. The point is there's already rules about who can vote, and when you have these young adults, not only do they not know the answers to these simple questions,
I mean,
but
simple.
They're just twisted in their answers. I mean, not just wrong, but just bizarre things coming out of their mouths. And these are not cherry-picked things. This Girl Limited Hangout has got 1 million of these things.
God,
So, again, I don't know, is the answer to have to have to pass a literacy exam and a civics exam? I don't know if that's the answer, but I think that you have to at least have a conversation, because maybe that is the answer.
Maybe it is, because right now, the crises that we are in, you really have to be smart to understand what's going on. You at least have to have some concept of the three branches of government, of the fact that it's supposed to operate in a manner that one checks the power of the other. And right now, we have, little judges, little power-hungry psycho judges in little courtrooms scattered around America, thwarting the will of the electorate. And how can we have a real discussion about how this is wrong and improper and unconstitutional with people that, what are those branches again?
Judicial, legislation, and consecutive.
Yeah. So how does she ever understand? That's right. How would somebody like that ever understand the nuances of the current crisis that we're about to encounter? Because you cannot have some little federal judge, Boasberg the clown, issuing orders to the executive branch on a Saturday night because the ACLU ran in with a motion to save the Venezuelan gang, and telling the executive branch to turn a plane around mid-flight. I don't think our girls on the beach would get that.
Well, first of all, two things. That was the best answer of the day. That girl who said,
you know what?
Consecutive.
You know what, Tom? You're so right.
That was the best answer of the day. And now I have another question about when you said ACLU. Why is it that no matter what, they always have standing, but nobody else has, like states don't have standing?
Wow, great point. Because all of the important election decisions back in 2020, they kicked them out on standing. Like one that really I was shocked was Pennsylvania. I mean, not to get bogged down in that, but anybody that like the AP regurgitates election deniers with no evidence, 60 courts kicked it out. They kicked it out on standing. But this was the U.S. Supreme Court, and it was literally what you do have standing for, which is whenever there's a dispute between states, that is original jurisdiction in the Supreme Court. And it was Texas, Louisiana, and a bunch of other states versus Pennsylvania, because Pennsylvania illegally changed their voting laws to favor Democrats without getting into the weeds on it. They did. It was not disputed. And they just said no standing. And then when the government was busted in the Twitter files, censoring everybody from you, me, and every doctor under the sun that didn't go along with the COVID program, well, nobody had standing again, and that was the case emanating out of Louisiana. So, you're right. How come they have standing?
Somehow the ACLU every single time has standing, and they want a plane turnaround.
Yep. And so now we've invoked the State Secrets Act and the Alien, the illegal, what is it called? The Alien Whatever Act. And both of those are not subject to Supreme Court review. So they're not subject to judicial review at all because of the consecutive branch, right? Versus the judicial branch. So I don't know, but I'm in favor of discussing seriously making people take a test at 18 or whenever they go register to vote. And you know what? If it discourages voters, good. Because we don't need people that are that ignorant voting. Tom, we have 17 seconds, okay? Anyway, so this is Baldy and the Blonde here every Wednesday at 4. Rocking and rolling along. And you can follow us on X at Baldy Blonde, and we'll be right back after the break. Welcome back to Baldy and the Blonde. I'm Michele Godin here every Thursday at 4 with my cohort in crime, Tom Goetz, also known as Baldy. And Tom is not in the studio with me today. And for those of you that listened last week, we had to do a rerun because the law business had to come first. So apologize for that. But we're back and on point today on a heavenly Wednesday. I would just like to thank Patty from the show before ours, The Food Show, with Marianne Fitzmaurice, where they were talking about Elmer's new candies. And for all you New Orleanians listen, as you know, you grew up with Elmer's, and they now have dark chocolate gold bricks and heavenly hash. And I might just want to say that they are heavenly. Okay, thank you, Patty. Moving on. We were talking about these brilliant kids on the beach who don't know the difference between the branches of government, the Bill of Rights, basically can't answer anything that any immigrant who wants to become a citizen has to answer, and yet they're voting and imposing their will on their fellow Americans, and we're just discussing that perhaps they should have to take a similar test when they register to vote. Anyway, in the context, before we move off of voting, in the context of that, the president signed another executive order requiring proof of citizenship to vote and paper ballots. And, of course, the usual complaints about proof of citizenship where, again, the NOLA.com is a disgrace. It's all AP left-wing articles that they run, I'm sure, for a feed of a service or something like that. And they were just whining and complaining about how 9% of Americans don't have an ID. And I don't believe that. Do you, Tom?
No. 9% of Americans don't have ID?
Yeah.
No, I don't believe that.
Certainly not.
No.
Because how would they even exist? There's nothing. They can't drive. They can't get on a plane. They can't, do anything. Social Security. They don't have to have a driver's license, but you have to have an ID proving you are a citizen. And the one and only reason that Democrats are opposed to that is because they're opposed to everything that's good and true and makes sense. So, of course, they're against it.
I suppose if illegals were counted in that number, you might get to 9%.
Yeah, well, there you go. And that's who they want to vote. And that's why they opened the borders, which, by the way, the president did not have the right to do. It's specifically prohibited from allowing an invasion of this country. And I didn't see any judges getting up in arms about Dementia Joe opening the borders. Did you?
No, you never, during COVID, did you see any judges up in arms about locking us down?
Nope. Nothing. No protection for the American people. However, Trenderagwe, come on in. Come on in.
Right.
Planes turning around in the sky. They should deliver them to Boasberg's house. Just like when they delivered all those illegals to Martha's Vineyard, and all the little lefties came out and said, "Yeah, we really can't keep you here. We don't have the facilities, but here's a McDonald's gift certificate. Bye." And they all waved them.
We love you.
Yeah, we love you. So happy to see you. So Boasberg,
I love you more when you're gone.
Right. Usual hypocrisy emanating from the left, right? Anyway, so you had mentioned to me that you came across an interesting article in the Federalist magazine.
Yes. It appeared, I think, yesterday. I just thought, actually, right before we went on the air, so I hadn't had a chance to look it over in detail. The headline is, a third of all D.C. district judges were not born in the United States.
What?
And then, yep. Now these are federal judges, right?
Yeah. Federal court. Yep.
Okay, and then that's it says a third of them were not born in the U.S. and there's the total is 15. So that means 5 out of 15 were not born in the U.S. Then the subhead to the article says, and this is even more appalling, it says, of all the judges in the United States, all 5 foreign-born judges on the D.C. court managed to get their fingerprints on controversial Trump cases.
Well. Surprise.
Right. So you have 5 judges, foreign-born, 3 appointed by, I think it was 3 appointed by Obama and 2 by Biden. I might be wrong on that number because, again, I just barely saw the article. But I can tell you this. This is a real shocking detail in this article. Besides all being foreign-born, none of them had ever been a judge before.
Oh, come on. Yeah, you mean they went from obscure practice of law to a federal judgeship?
I mean, one of them was a Walmart greeter. One of them, no, I'm kidding. I don't know their backgrounds, but it seems
I wouldn't
that they go
doubt
to
it. No, that would make them normal. So they were probably more like
Yeah, right.
prison guards, or something. Yeah.
Well, I tried to take a minute to go to the website for the DC court and look at all the bios, but I just ran out of time. But according to this article, none of them had ever been a judge before. None of them were born in the U.S., and all of them have their hands on these controversial Trump cases.
So I know that
random?
one of them is being heralded as the first Muslim. But what I know about him that's weird, and I guess now that you're telling me that 5 of the 15 are foreign born, I thought it was weird that he is a dual citizen with the country without borders, Canada. Referring back to the first segment for those of you who are just tuning in, interviews on the beach with our children on spring break. What states border Canada? Well, I don't think Canada has any borders. Anyway, so one of the judges.
Asia,
what's that?
Well,
Asia. Asia
Yeah.
from the other kid. That's right. Asia or no borders. But anyway, one of them's a Canadian for sure. And still, I know Amir or Amit or something like that.
Yeah, Amir Hatem Madi Ali.
Oh, there you go. Sounds like a good American. Even though he's a Canadian. So, of course, he's making decisions. And I think, what did he do? I think he's the one that forced payment of $2 billion. There's so many bad decisions and, coming out from all these courts. But
It's impossible to keep them straight.
And then who else? Can you name any of the others? Because maybe I'll know something about them.
Oh, yeah, there's let's see. There's that Amit Mehta.
Yeah, that's him. That's who I was just talking. The Canadian. Yeah, that's him.
Oh, is that?
That's who I'm talking about. Yeah.
Was that is that the Canadian?
I think so. Amir.
No.
Amir is the Canadian.
That's the Canadian, yeah.
Okay.
And then there's Ana Cecilia Reyes.
I don't know her.
Born in Uruguay and moved to Spain. And then there's one born in India, one born in Canada, one born in Trinidad and Tobago, one born in Jamaica. Now, that doesn't make these people unqualified. It doesn't make them bad people. It doesn't make them unpatriotic. It doesn't make them anything. But it is this very bizarre pattern that all 5 of these are born outside the U.S., and none of these was a judge before getting on the D.C. court.
So that's not as.
And they all end up handling these Trump cases.
Yeah, that's the part to me that is really strange because I don't know exactly what system the federal court in D.C. uses to do what we call a case. So when you file a new suit, you bring it to the courthouse, they stamp it in, and they give you the judge name and number. I mean, not phone number, but, they give you a case number and the judge is assigned to it. So it used to be many years ago when I first started practicing law because, there's obviously some judges that you would much prefer to others. Well, we would go to the courthouse and they literally had ping pong balls so that, let's say, you had sections A through J. Well, you'd have a ping pong ball with each of those, letters, and the clerk would not look, put her hand in and pull it out, and that was your judge. And that's actually fair. But I don't know about this alleged random selection in D.C. And furthermore, what are they doing in D.C., right? I mean, this plane load of Tren de Aragua criminals, Venezuelan gang members, they were in Texas. So why did the Anti-American Civil Liberties Union file their case and just happen to end up with Boasberg the Clown? How did that happen? It's called judge shopping. So they selected the venue, just like obviously they have lawsuits prepared all over the country for every single move they think that we, the people, want to make. Because remember, although the press, blah, 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 it's Trump, blah, blah, Trump's doing something, blah, blah, the judge is telling Trump he's wrong. No. Trump is, for the first time in my lifetime, a politician who's actually implementing what we voted for. So when he's moving to get the gang members from Tren de Aragua, who are here illegally, brought in by Joe Biden out of the country, well, that's our American will of the people. And that's how Trump won. And we're just shocked that anybody, for all of his problems, would ever implement our will. So some little yahoo sitting in a courtroom in D.C. can say, no, President, I'm interfering in your presidential authority. Like, can Trump tell him what law clerk to hire? Can he tell him to fire his secretary? Can he tell him what car to drive to the courthouse? No. Okay? No, he cannot. Probably thinks he can, you know? But
hey, let me cut in real quick.
yeah, 133. Go ahead.
Scrolling down to the bottom of this one article that I was referring to.
Yeah.
And there's someone, I don't know who this person is, Eric Doherty.
Okay.
And,
I know Eric Doherty. I know him from X. You know, he writes on X.
Okay. Well, it's one of his posts. And it says, evidence that judges have seized control of our country. And he says, federal injunctions by president. So Obama had 12.
Wow.
Trump, first term, had 64.
Jeez.
Biden had 14. And Trump, in 2 months of his second term, has 15.
Okay, you know what I mean? I'm done. I'm done with this. And let me tell you, they are cruising for a bruising. You know? I cannot explain that other than it is a FEDsurrection, meaning a judicial insurrection.
Can you explain injunctions? You can do it better.
Oh, yeah. An injunction is halt what you're doing. A judge says halt what you're doing immediately. It is extraordinary. It's supposed to be used very rarely. It first comes by way of a temporary restraining order, and then it is confirmed in a hearing by an injunction. The problem here is that injunctions are being applied to the whole country for national issues that are within the prerogative of the consecutive executive, please, and, not the judicals. Okay. Anyway, this is Baldy and the Blonde. Out of control today here without Mr. Baldy. Although he is here remotely. We will be back in a minute, and you can follow us on X at Baldy Blonde.
I'm a superstar. I'm so damn bad.
I always let it play a little longer because I like that song. I'm a superstar. That's my brother's band from many years ago called Tom's House. It's a song called Superstar that is very cool. And he's now in, what is he in the Glow Band? And it's Kings of Neon. Anyway. So, Tom, Mr. Baldy.
I'm here. Yes, ma'am.
All right. So, where were we? Because I got carried away talking to the next host because she went to Chappelle just like me, and that's how it is in New Orleans. And there you go. Her sister and her sister and me were friends. That's it. So anyway, there we were looking at the injunctions, which seem to be very fairly distributed, wouldn't you say?
Oh, boy. Yeah. It's Biden and Obama had, what was it, 14, 15 for their entire term?
Yeah, their whole term. And Trump's had 70 or something, I think you said the first time, and now he's up to already
64 the first
20.
time and 15 already in 2 months this time. Yeah.
And let me just tell you how I cannot stand. I'm sorry. I don't know if, as a lawyer, I believe I'm entitled to a personal opinion. Chief Justice Roberts, oh my God, injected himself into a political situation by issuing some terse little 2-sentence sissy warning that nobody better impeach the judges. We'll just work this out judicially. Well, he already had a chance to work this out judicially, and he refused. Him and Amy, the scourge of Dominican, and, that's a Dominican high school in New Orleans where Amy Coney Barrett went to high school. I'm sorry to say my mom went there. Oh, what a disappointment she is. But anyway, he had a chance to straighten this out. And, the idea that federal judges can issue injunctions that apply to the whole country is ridiculous, especially in a matter like this where it's the will of the electorate being thwarted and within the absolute province of the president, not the judicial. Help me with that again, Tom, please.
Not the judicial.
Judicial, consecutive, and legislation. The 3 branches of the government, according to the Beach Brainiacs that were interviewed in Section 1.
That was the best answer of the day. Literally, it was the best.
It was the closest to right. It's so sad. If you haven't heard the whole show, ladies and gentlemen, please go back and listen to the first part where we played some interviews of our future leaders of America on the beach in Clearwater, Florida. And when asked, questions like, where is Canada's, who does Canada share a border with? One kid said Asia, and the other one said they have no border. So, and when asked about the three branches of government, how'd she say it again?
Legislation, judicial, and consecutive.
I don't know.
By far the closest answer of the day.
It really was. It really was. I don't know what to say about it, but I'm in favor of making them take tests before they can vote at this point, because to think that anyway. So you and I've had this, kind of highbrow discussion about the federal judiciary interfering in the will of the people being exercised by the president. How can kids like that possibly understand what's going on and how important it is to their future if they don't even know?
By design. I believe that's by design.
Well, I do too. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
Well, it does the powers that be no good to have an educated populace.
Yep.
Because these kids they'll just believe whatever is spoon-fed to them. Because what else can they believe? Because they don't know anything. I'm not saying they're stupid. I don't know these kids. I just know that they don't know this stuff. They're ignorant about these things because they've never been taught. They've never paid attention, or maybe some of them are just straight up stupid. I don't know. They obviously don't know the most basic things, so they will just lap up whatever the AP says or CNN tells them.
That's right.
They'll just so that they'll fall for any propaganda.
And I don't know. It's really discouraging because we're going to be living under their boot. Now, you and I hopefully will be dead before they assume great power. But
I want to stick around a while.
I know, me too. I don't want to be under their boot. But anyway, I think you're right that I can't remember which founding father said it, but you have to have a good, moral, and educated populace to have a republic, and we don't have that. I think it might have been Franklin and Jefferson, but I'm not sure how that went. But it's pathetic.
Oh, founding father? Oh, that was Thomas Edison who said that.
Edison or
no? That was a joke.
I'm sorry. I should have had the boom. Did he say Edison? Okay. What? Yeah, exactly.
All right. I want to take just a minute to pivot to the Yemen and the
yes.
That controversy, because I have an entirely different take, and I'm disappointed that I haven't heard other people talking like this. But it's so new, and I've been busy. Maybe there are people out there talking like this, but here's my take on it. I just want to read you some very short excerpts from these texts.
This is the signal controversy, everybody. Okay.
Yeah. Starts with Vance, and I'm jumping ahead in some of these, but he says, I think we're making a mistake. I'm not sure the president is aware how inconsistent this is with his message on Europe right now. And then he says, I'm willing to support the consensus and keep these concerns to myself, but there's a strong argument for delaying this by a month. And what's interesting is the very next four messages in this group chat after that agreed that there's no harm in waiting, and maybe they should wait. One is from Joe Kent, who's Tulsi Gabbard's chief of staff.
Yep.
He's director of national intelligence. Let's see, and then CIA Director John Ratcliffe. He agreed that waiting would not be a problem and might even be beneficial. And even Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, now he was the one most eager to go, but he also did say that waiting a few weeks or a month doesn't fundamentally change anything. But he did say that the riskiest things for waiting, and when you read what the risks are, they're not even risky at all. One of them is that in the meantime that this could leak out and the U.S. would look indecisive.
Right.
Well, that's not a huge deal.
No, who cares?
And then the other is that Israel might go first, and then the U.S. wouldn't get to start this on our own terms. Well, that's a small price to pay.
Yeah.
Now, my take on it is this. There's an old saying, of course, never put off until tomorrow what can be done today. But if you can turn that around.
I have my whole life, yes. Go ahead. Say it again.
Well, never do today what you can put off until tomorrow. If you truly can put it off until tomorrow, then do. Because once the deed is done, it's done. And all of these guys, like all the power players in this text messaging, they all agreed. There's no harm in putting it off, and even a benefit to putting it off, and yet it went forward. And what's really disturbing is the last text. Well, actually, that was all done on Saturday, March 14th. Then on Friday, March 14th. Then on Saturday, March 15th, Mike Waltz, the guy who invited in the journalist, He said the first target, their top missile guy, we had positive idea of him walking into his girlfriend's building, and now it's collapsed. So that means they hit a building close to there.
Tom,
Killed some.
35 seconds, Tom.
All right. All right.
And plus, we're getting, all of a sudden, I'm kind of losing you. It's kind of blurry. Matthew, I'm really sorry we didn't get to you. All of a sudden, we were smashed at the end with phone calls. Whoever else is calling in, I apologize. We will be back next week and try to get back to the Yemen topic, which I'm sure there'll be more developments on. I agree with Tom's point. If you can wait before bombing a place, then you do it.